Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliate and supported ministries and or nonprofits. So here he is on a Thursday, not a Wednesday. It's kind of crazy, and so is he. The man with the plan to put gold in your hand, Tony Hammock.
Well, thanks, Matt.
You're not really crazy. I had to say that.
Oh, as long as it's crazy like a fox. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Hey, new day, new time. I'm excited. It's Thursday on, what is today? February the 4th at 10 a.m. in Springfield, and we got a great day going outside there. So get out and enjoy it. I think it's supposed to be 50-something, and, get all your errands ran and all that kind of good stuff. I got a fairly good show set up here. I have a couple things that are I'm kind of excited to share with you. I mean, since the last time I was on, which would have been a week ago yesterday, we've just had some incredible developments in the markets, the precious metal markets to be exact. And, I don't know if you're tracking silver and all this kind of stuff with the run-up it had and then the subsequent decrease because of the short squeeze attempt by the folks that follow this, different people in Reddit, but they're the ones that caused all the excitement with GameStop and a few others. Anyway, we'll get into that in depth and everything. And in fact, I've got a guest spot for you here coming up in a minute with Ryan Long, who's the president of National Gold Consultants and everything. But anyway, as we speak, gold is at 1787.30 and silver is at 26.14. And the gold one's a little bit interesting just because it's been running mid-1800s now for a while. And the only thing I can figure is that it has to do with the strength of the dollar right now. I think a lot of folks are kind of waiting to see what this next stimulus package looks like, and so for some of them, they're on the sidelines waiting to see and everything like that. But we'll see what happens there. I got to tell you, if you're bored, just wait a few minutes anymore in this market or these markets, and things will change. But if you watch week in, week out, you know that I like to go ahead and do the stewardship course lesson for the day, and so, with that in mind, let me go ahead and get that out of the way because, I think that's one of the main things I really get a kick out of on this show is just kind of going through some stewardship ideas. I don't know if you noticed, Mike, I got these weird glasses with magnets and they decided to attach themselves to the microphone there. Okay, so I think today is lesson 8. And I think it's out of 10 altogether. So we got 2 more weeks with this particular course. And this lesson is called Prosperity versus Riches. As we wrap up our discussion on money, faith, and financial stewardship, we must remember going forward that prosperity and riches are 2 different things. Prosperity includes material gain, but is not limited to it. It includes balanced growth and multiplication in all areas of life. The accumulation of riches is something you can do without God. You can acquire worldly goods and leave God completely out of the process. You only need to look around at our world today to see that many people are doing just this. But you can't be prosperous without God. You can't have a fully balanced, fruitful, and joyful life without Him. To be truly prosperous, you must be spiritually prosperous. Your faith and relationship with the Father must be growing and fruitful. That can't happen apart from God. Prosperity has a lasting, eternal quality. Riches can be wiped away in a day or in 1 hour, as we read in Revelation 18 on day 3. Prosperity lasts, even during times of temporary loss, even during slow times or lulls in one area of life. The person who desires God's prosperity and lives according to His principles for prosperity has a deep, abiding sense of the Lord's presence, provision, and pleasure. The person who desires to be prosperous lives in such a way that the promises of God are available to him. The person who seeks only riches is someone to whom the fullness of God's promises does not apply. The one who strives to be rich limits himself to living by the flesh, while the one who pursues prosperity avails himself of God's blessings. He connects his life to the unlimited God, and there is no limit to the amount of growth and blessing that he might enjoy. That's 2 Corinthians 9:8. The Lord's desire for you is prosperity. He wants you to be a whole person, balanced, growing, fruitful, and fulfilling his plan and purpose for your life. Ask him to teach you what it means to be truly prosperous in his eyes. His word promises he will answer. So, prosperity versus riches. And I know that I've had many conversations with clients and friends and family over the years and stuff like that. And, it just seems like there are, kind of a fork in the road. Someone can go just for riches, and somebody can get it and go for the prosperity and so forth. So, and if you ever need help with that, remember, we are on the Axe Media Broadcast Network, and Axe and a lot of the ministries inside of Axe Ministry have some wonderful things going on. So if you're looking for some new fellowship and so forth, you might tune in to their website, Axe Ministry, and see what other ministries are and so forth, when their shows are, and meetings and things like that and so forth. I know Dr. Paul Collins has a really nice one with his wife Nancy on Friday mornings at 9. I know that there's a very good one for veterans. I think if you tune in here, you'll see that there's a plethora of choices for those kinds of things. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to do is, that over the years we've kind of focused on one or two companies that I turn to for help with precious metals, gold and silver. And yesterday, Ryan Long, who is the president of National Gold Consultants, put out it's about a 10-minute video. It's called State of the Union Update. And, I turned to Ryan for a lot of counseling and so forth on gold and silver, mainly because not only has he been in the market his whole life, but his dad also really was the one who started National Gold Consultants. And so, it's second generation, very, very good at what they do. And, they've seen all kinds of markets, good, bad, sideways. And so, when Ryan offers up a chance to, get a State of the Union and stuff, I like to tune in. So this will be about 10 minutes. Now, unfortunately, right now, we don't have the video part of it. It's just the audio. But I think if you listen, you're going to hear some good stuff. There is one point about halfway through where he says, let's look at my screen. And when he does that, I may stop it and just kind of explain what exactly is on the screen. Basically, he's just looking at the money supply over the last, I think it's like 30 or 40 years, and how it's increased because of all this printing of money and so forth. But anyway, without further ado, let's hear what Ryan has to say about the gold and silver market.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in today. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, and I thought it was prudent to be able to send you information, call it the State of the Union on physical gold and silver, with everything that has transpired over the last several days. Robinhood trading, markets going haywire, gold and silver up and down. I'd be lying to say it has not. It's been an interesting time to be in the gold and silver industry. Now, your clients, and if you're not an advisor, this is to serve as a purpose of an update as to what the current market environment is, how inventory levels are, what we foresee this to look like in the next coming months and years, and so on and so forth. So thank you for tuning in today, so I can have a chance to educate you of what is transpiring in the precious metals market. There's a lot of information out there. Media outlets are talking about the short squeeze attempt on physical gold and silver, and the damage that it did to the physical gold and silver. Realistically, what happened with the damage is physical availability, if you're reading out there, is becoming extinct, and that is becoming the truth. So what transpired here over the weekend and this last Monday? You had a large group of individuals, Robinhood traders, that said, hey, let's take it to these hedge funds like they did GameStop, and let's squeeze out the silver market. Well, Back in 1980, the Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market as well, and they drove the price up substantially during that time. But what they failed to do is they didn't buy physical. They bought paper trades and on paper margins, which is not the real deal. We cover that over and over again of why you need to be in physical metal. Possession is 9/10 of the law compared to a piece of paper of gold and silver. Same situation happened. Well, these I call it the millennials of the world, bought all the SLV and the USLVF, which are the gold and silver exchanged funds, drove up the spot price the next day. Well, the big guys behind the system said, we're going to raise the margin requirements by 20% overnight, which means you have to have more cash to do so. And that caused the spot price of gold and silver to decline again. What they cannot control, however, is the state of the physical gold and silver market, right? They can't make any more of the pre-1933 coins. They can't raise the margin requirements on these pre-1933 coins. And that's the beauty of the gold and silver industry, is it's its own free trade. You know, I'm talking to advisors left and right now, and I say, what asset class can you purchase that it is still well under its 1980 highs? 41 years. I mean, look at lumber, corn, nothing, housing prices, nothing is below their 1980 price besides silver right now. And that's what that's where we're seeing starting to see some significant gains. Remember, we're viewing this as wealth insurance, trying to take our mutual fund goggles out of this. This is insurance for your wealth. If you do not have this proper insurance, it's like having a $500,000 house with only $100,000 of insurance. Doesn't make sense. That's why we talk about roughly 10 to 20% of your investable assets need to be in physical pre-1933 coins. If you don't have that availability for non-qualified money, it needs to be then in an IRA, which we can do in physical gold and silver. So where are we heading? February 3rd, 2021 is where I am right now recording this here in our office. There's a lot going down and a lot going on the pike. Let me share with you my screen real quick so you can see what I'm going to be looking at. Okay. Now, I want to bring up the concept of what exponential function is. You see this formula, f over x equals 2x squared. Okay. This formula is created from Dr. Albert Bartlett, and I give the expression of, I like to say, all of the damage happens in the 11th hour. So, you're going along for quite some time, you're doing okay, and you can see this big, large bell curve that happens towards the end. Let me show you our M1 money supply. Look at this. This goes all the way back to 1975. Look at 2020 through 2021. The money printing that.
This is the graph I was telling you about, and basically as you're looking at me, and I apologize we don't have the visual, but basically 75, it just kind of goes like this for a long time, and then all of a sudden, just in the last year, it just goes like this as far as the money supply. That's what he's referring to.
We have done. That looks a lot to me like exponential function, meaning you have to keep printing to absolute oblivion to keep up with the status quo. So what does that mean for you? Well, that just means your dollar is going to continue to buy less and less. So I get the question quite often, hey, have I missed this boat? Have I missed this recent run? Should I be selling my gold and silver? No. Right now that'd be one of the worst times to be selling your physical gold and silver. The best is yet to come. There will be a time that we'll be taking some of our winners off of the table, because that 10 to 20% that we talk about as wealth insurance, it might turn into 30, 40, 50%. That's when we are able to take some winners off the table to get back to that 10%. It'd be like getting rid of your health insurance. You hope to never have to use your health insurance, but it's there in case you need it. And that same principle applies towards our wealth. So if you're into the precious metals market right now, you got in with your advisor, or maybe with somebody else, should you sell your precious metals right now? Unless you need those assets to live off of, absolutely not. This is the time to be accumulating gold and silver. For those of you on the fence or just hearing about gold and silver now, did you miss the boat? This is just the beginning. Again, we are still well away from those 1980 highs. Adjusting to inflation, silver has a triple-digit number. Gold should be substantially higher than where it's at now, and the physical market is starting to move. So I'm creating this video not to sound Chicken Little, the sky is falling, or have a tinfoil hat. I'm sending this video out because we're getting calls and inundated with advisors and clients going, wow, I bought my silver at 20. Should I sell? No. Again, unless you need it, we need to look at this as insurance instead of like what a mutual fund does. And that's the whole concept of this. So again, we need that 10 to 20%. Okay. So I'm going to move into my next thing and talk about availability real quick. Okay, I'm not going to keep you much longer. This is designed to be a short update. So you have, I call it the State of the Union for gold and silver and where we are. Availability across the country, across the world for physical metal is off the charts. You can't find it. It is getting very, very difficult. Okay. Now, I was reading the book of Genesis this last month here, and towards the end of the book of Genesis, it talks about Joseph and the dreams he interprets from Pharaoh about the 7 years of feast and the 7 years of famine. Right. So what they did was they stored, grains in the storehouse for those coming 7 years of famine. Okay. I'm second generational in this industry. I've been doing this a long time. My father before me. We've been storing metal in our corporate Delaware DDSC depository account for years. This is the time now that other retailers, other companies, other wholesalers like mine do not have inventory, but we've been seeing this writing on the wall of this short squeeze on physical for quite some time. Okay. We are now having to tap into our storehouses. I know Monday, 15,000 coins we released to send to our office. Yesterday, we did the exact same thing. We're doing more again today. We still have inventory. It's getting tight. It's getting nasty. So, I'm not saying to, put a sales hat on here, but don't wait. This is our opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to have full protection of wealth insurance. Okay. So we have ample inventory. We're fulfilling every order right now that is coming through. I know on Monday, the amount of transactions we did with advisors and their clients exceeds what a normal month is, but that was done on one day. There's massive panic right now to be able to get into physical metal. And that's something we have to be careful about. We don't want emotions to creep in, right? We don't want to make an emotional decision because that's how we make mistakes. However, wealth insurance is not emotional. This is just sound financial planning, especially when you're looking at retirement or in retirement right now. So I'm gonna leave you with one more thing, and then I'll wrap up. Thank you all for allowing me to share with you a market update of what's going on. My company and my employees here at National Gold Consultants, we're here to serve you in a licensed manner, in a bonded manner, in an insured manner, to make sure that you are taken care of in a fiduciary manner, meaning in your best interest, not ours. That's what we are here for. But it's a simple analogy, a simple expression. 3 little pigs. Right? Simple story, childhood story. It's funny. No one notices the brick house until the winds start blowing. And that's where we are right now. No one notices gold and silver until the wind starts howling, until the monetary system is blowing up, until we have all-time highs and bubbles all around us. But remember, wealth insurance is there to protect you. Okay? It's, where do we place our trust? It's not in gold and silver. It's in the Lord Jesus Christ. But wealth insurance is there to protect you and protect your assets that you've been blessed with throughout the years. So thank you for tuning in. Give our office a call, 763-401-7920. Talk to your advisor as well. That's what we're here for, to help you all out. Thank you so much, and be well.
Okay. Well, I should have said
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in today.
There we go. I should have said at the beginning of that I had permission from Ryan Long to use that. And to make it even better, if you want to hear it again and or want to listen to other videos that Ryan's put out over the years, his YouTube channel is National Gold Consultants. So you can go there and not only hear that again, but see Ryan. He's very, very good at what he does. I know that I've benefited a great deal from his knowledge of gold and silver, and a number of my clients have benefited a great deal. I actually had him in Springfield back on October 10th of 2019, And it was kind of funny because, how things are, especially, here in the Ozarks. We had the most stormy day I've ever seen. I mean, all day long, torrential rain, thunderstorms, tornado warnings. And it was just, in fact, I'd actually met him over in Nevada, Missouri, for lunch with one of my advisors over in Kansas that agreed to meet us there. And of course, driving back from Nevada, was caught in all this and was just wondering if he really wanted to make it all the way to Springfield and stuff. And so, we went ahead and did it. And instead of the big turnout we had hoped for, I think we ended up with 10 or 12 people, which, if we can help 10 or 12 people, then it's well worth it and stuff. But Ryan did just an incredible presentation, and so incredible that at the end, Lynn Morris, who some of you know from Christian County, called him over and asked him, this was a Thursday night, by the way, had asked him if Ryan was going to be around on the next morning, Friday morning. I guess that would have been October 11th. And because he didn't have any guests on his radio show, could Ryan come on and talk about gold and silver? And as it turned out, Ryan was staying the night and then getting up the next morning and leaving pretty early, but it all worked out. So if you follow Lynn Morris's show on The Gentle Giant, I believe it is, or is it 560? Anyway, it's on Friday mornings at 8 a.m., and it would be the show from October 11th, 2019 that Ryan would be on. So anyway, enough about Ryan Long and National Gold Consultants. If you need help with those items, give me a shout here in Southwest Missouri. I'm at 417-755-0700, or you can email me at Tony at thegoldaffiliate.com. So either one of those would work and stuff. Another thing I wanted to cover real quick is last week when we were wrapping up, Matt and Jason, I think it was Jason, had asked about some coins. He'd come across a couple of different coins that were, from the early 1900s. I think one might have even been from 18 something. And he was asking me about it. And I was telling him that I had gone to the coin expedition or conference, whatever it was, up at the Expo Center at the fairgrounds back in, I want to say November. And I picked up the 2021 version of the United States coins. It's the 74th edition. And I got to tell you, this is just an incredible book as far as information and coins and stuff like that. So if you can get your hands on one, by all means do so. This only cost me, let's call it $18. It was $17.95. And I have used it a bunch of times since then. And I told him I'd bring it today so that we could look up those coins after the show and just see, what they're suggesting their value is and stuff. So I think you'll find if you get into gold and silver, platinum, palladium, rhodium, that there is a lot of ways that you can, invest and collect and all this kind of stuff. When Ryan's talking about, non-qualified accounts, he likes the strategy of dealing with pre-1933 coins. And one reason is they're not making any more of them. Another reason is they're very valuable because they're not making any more of them. And so that is his non-qualified strategy, and we've got a number of clients that have used that very successfully. In the qualified market, which would be an IRA, 401k rollover, that type of thing, he is a little bit more limited on what he can do, mainly because the revenue code says that you can only put in certain gold and silver coins in an IRA. And for the most part, they're American Silver Eagles or Gold Eagles, or Canadian Silver Maple Leafs or Gold Maple Leafs. And I will tell you that there again, I've got a number of clients that have IRA dollars, including my own wife, that are with Gold Star as the custodian he uses out of Texas. Pardon me. And they have a number of dollars in like Canadian silver maple leafs, for example. And the neat thing about the maple leaf, as long as I've gone that far, is the maple leaf is a 4-9er. I know you're going, what's a 4-9er, Tony? Well, it means that it's 0.9999 purity of silver purity, whereas the American Silver Eagle is 3 nines, 999, which, I mean, okay, we're getting into, the fourth decimal over and all that kind of stuff, but it's a difference. And so I've found myself lately, trying to acquire more Canadian maple leafs. The same holds true with the gold. And in the U.S. mint, they've got the gold eagles that would be 0.99. They do have the Buffalo gold coin that's 1 ounce of gold, and that is 4 nines. And as Ryan said, probably if you're looking for any of those right now, it's probably really difficult to find them just because of the demand here of late in the last 30 days and stuff. So I'm sure they'll adjust, and I'm sure there'll be supply somewhere in the future and stuff. But for the moment, most of the silver is spoken for out there. Anyway, to move on, speaking of silver, and I'm trying to remember if I've showed this to you before. I think I have, so I apologize if it's redundant for those of you that watch. But, one of the ways I acquire some silver is in a Coin of the Month club I'm involved with. And let me see, what is this one? This is the... what state? This one's part of a 50-state collection. This is Utah. Okay, so the last one I got was Utah. You can see, now here's a big deal with this stuff. This is an MS70 rated coin. In other words, you can see it sealed in this plastic container. It's MS70, which stands for Mint State. 70 is the highest rating you can get. In other words, that coin is perfection. There are no flaws. If there was any kind of a little tiny, tiny flaw that your naked eye probably could not detect, it would be an MS69 and so forth as it, digresses and stuff. But I like to make that distinction because, first off, going back to Ryan and his non-qualified strategy with the pre-33 coins, they're not going to be hermetically sealed like this. The coins are coins that have been in circulation, and so they're fine. I mean, you can tell what they are and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't want to ever have somebody get some non-qualified pre-33 coins from us and then think that they're going to be MS70. They're not. This one is, and it's number 11 of 50. So what they're doing is they're trying to get a coin out for each of the 50 states, and I guess I must have 11 of them so far. So we'll see if I can pick up the other 39 somewhere soon and stuff, because they're kind of fun. I mean, you wouldn't walk into a store unless you absolutely had to with that and try to exchange it for goods or services. But still, there's a lot of us that think there may be a day somewhere in the future where the U.S. dollar, you wake up and it may not be worth anything. I mean, really, it's down 98% from its value back in, I believe it was 1971, August 15th, 1971, when President Nixon, took us off the gold standard. And so the dollar has gone down quite a bit as far as its purchasing power. Anyway, let me see. What else did I bring today? Oh, okay. So here's a little bit of an update. I decided I'm going to start printing out all this stuff I get so I can just have it in my briefcase for content as we go through the show and stuff. But this is from the World Gold Council. I got this this morning at 7:58. Positive outlook for gold investment supports gold ETF inflows in January. And it says global gold ETFs saw inflows of 13.8 tons in January after 2 consecutive months of outflows in November and December, which had totaled 148.8 tons. Global assets under management now stands at 3,765 tons, just 4% shy of the intramonth record of 3,915.8 tons set in early November. So, you can tell, since we're talking in tons and not ounces, that we're talking about a whole lot of gold. And and stuff. And the World Gold Council, I mean, if you're interested, you can go to their website. I believe it's gold.org, and look at some of these different reports and articles. They're pretty good. About weekly, they come out with some intensive study. Let me see. Long-term trends, global AUM, and if you're not familiar with that acronym, that stands for Assets Under Management, stands at 3,765 tons, just 4% shy of the intra-month record set in early November 2020. Following record-setting inflows in the first 10 months of 2020, flows turned negative in December and November before reversing course again in the first month of 2021. Investment demand for gold via ETFs remains strong and a primary driver overall of gold demand. Asian gold ETFs holdings have grown by more than 50% over the past 12 months. Low-cost gold-backed ETFs grew meaningfully during 2020 and generally continued to see inflows in January. And just so I am clear, and I don't leave this unsaid, we have a theory on ETFs. ETFs, I mean, a gold ETF would be better than no gold at all. But you understand, hopefully, that an ETF is, I mean, it's a piece of paper. I mean, it's not actual gold. In fact, whatever gold is tied to it, there's probably, several hundred folks in ETFs that are tied to that 1 ounce of gold. So, it's not really a good way to invest in gold as compared to owning the real stuff, having possession of the gold, or in some cases the silver, because there's silver ETFs also and stuff. And the distinction that Ryan likes to make, I'm going to use this enough to where someday this will be mine and stuff, is he uses a little story when he does his presentations about, so you're going on a cruise with your family, you own gold, physical gold, and you get ready to go on the ship. You're not taking the gold with you per se, but you notice that the name of the vessel is the Titanic. And you're kind of like, whoa, I don't know if I want to get on this thing. And you get up to the boarding gate, and the concierge there, and they're like, oh, okay, well, let me see, you own gold, so here's your life preserver, and then one for each member of your family. And you feel a little bit better knowing that if on this voyage the Titanic has any problems, you've got life preservers with you, hence real gold. And the next family up the plank, they don't own gold directly. They don't own bullion. They own an ETF. So they get to the top, the concierge greets them, and then they acknowledge that, so here is your certificate for a life preserver. And if we should encounter any problems on our voyage, you need to take this certificate and you need to go to the captain's quarters, and you need to exchange that for a life preserver. And so you can kind of see, in that scenario, the ship's got troubles going on. Do you really want to have to go to the captain's quarters and exchange that, or would you rather just have it? And that way, you and your family are protected. And that's why I think we like to use the term wealth insurance, is that, we can show you study after study of, over the past 75 to 100 years, if you'd had a little bit of gold or silver in your portfolio and the rest in stocks, how it would have increased your performance and definitely decreased your risk. So interesting stuff, to say the least. Oh, you know what I haven't done yet? I haven't done the pricing. We go to a new day, a new time, and I'm just kind of getting all discombobulated here. Let's get in. This is really one of the most exciting things about probably today's show, which is, some of the prices that are going on out there. Okay, Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now, for one Bitcoin, it is $36,817.29. And Ethereum, which is the second largest market cap in the crypto world, is at $1,613.88. And to put that in perspective, Bitcoin for the day is down 0.08%. For the week, it's up 21.05%. For the month, it's up 11.29%. And for the year, it's up 301%. So that's Bitcoin. Ethereum, let's go over there and look at that. Oh, let me see. For the day, Ethereum is up 0.22%. For the week, it's up 29.79%. For the month, it's up 64.23%. And for the last year, it's up 755%. So you can see why I'm including crypto in our show, because it is an alternative asset. And, we always say, I do, that I would not use cryptos for widows or orphans or folks that, don't have a high tolerance for risk. Although I will tell you that one of the folks I follow in the insurance world, I was looking at his most recent newsletter, a gentleman named Tom Hegna, and he was acknowledging that even he, a couple of years ago, had put 1% of his net worth into Bitcoin and was very pleased with how that had gone over the last couple of years and stuff. So, there's just a lot of folks that are kind of coming around to the Bitcoin story. And, Mass Mutual, for example, AAA, A+, whatever rating agency you're looking at. But, they're a very, very successful, very, very conservative insurance company out of Springfield, Massachusetts. And, a couple months ago, they even put, I want to say, $150 million of their general account into Bitcoin. Now, to put that in perspective, that would have been something like 0.25% of 1%. So a quarter of 1%, I think it was, of their general account. The point being is, if it goes to zero, they're not devastated. Sure, they would be unhappy, but if it does like it has in the past 4 or 5 years and continues to accelerate in its growth pattern, they're going to be very pleased. So, and big companies like that with, billions of dollars and stuff under management, they can afford to do that. Anyway, enough of Bitcoin. Let's go over to some precious metals. Now, these precious metals are just that. They're precious, and the prices I'm getting ready to share with you are by the ounce. So gold as of 10:38 this morning is at $1,788.60 an ounce. It's down $46 for the day. And I got to tell you, boy howdy, that is, we've got a sale going on. If you've been thinking about gold and silver for a while, it might be a time to kind of put your foot in the water here and take advantage of this. Because I got to tell you, as far as a week ago, it was probably $18.50. And the only reason this is this way, it's a very short-term, temporary type of thing as I see it. It could easily be back close to 2,000 in a couple of weeks, depending on what this stimulus package turns out to be. And the other thing is, it's tied very closely to the dollar. Right now, the dollar's having a little resurgence and stuff. Silver is down 80 cents on the day. It's at $26.35 an ounce. Platinum is $1,095 an ounce. Palladium is $2,349 an ounce. And rhodium is up $500. It's at $21,000 an ounce. Can you imagine that? You have an ounce of rhodium, something you could put in your pocket, and it's worth 21 grand. At least on the ask. People are paying that to get it. If you were cashing out on the bid, that right now is 19,000. So, quite a spread there. The base metals are priced by the pound. So these prices I'm sharing here in a moment, these are going to be by the pound. And my favorite in this group these days is copper. As of 10:38 this morning, copper was at $3.54. It's down about a penny. Nickel is $7.99 a pound. Aluminum is 89 cents a pound. Zinc is $1.18. Lead is 91 cents. Uranium, Ace's favorite, is $29.10 a pound. Crude oil, now this is by the barrel, so a barrel of crude oil is up 10 cents. It's at $55.79. And then so far today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average as of 10:39 is up 257 points. It's at 30,981. The Nasdaq's up 73 points. It's at 13,683. And the S&P's up 26 points. It's at 38.56. And remember, I mentioned the strength of the dollar. The dollar's up 41 cents. It's at 91.48. That's the value that it has against other currencies. And that's, as I said, up 42 cents. So that's one of the reasons you see gold down 40 some dollars and stuff. In fact, what was that? That was $45.70. It's kind of ironic, huh? So anyway, a lot of things going on out there in all markets, but in our specific markets, silver and gold. And remember, I've always talked about dollar cost averaging, because dollar cost averaging, this is the exact perfect type of scenario where it just makes a lot of sense. Somebody that bought, let's say, 10 ounces of silver last week, they paid more for it and got excited over the weekend when it got close to $30 an ounce. And then things started to kind of come back to earth. And now this week they're getting ready to make another deposit, let's say. And rather than being disappointed because it's not as expensive as it was last week, you can still be excited because you're buying more silver for that same amount of money. In other words, I'm talking about you got a set pattern. Okay, every week I'm going to put $50 in, or $100 or $1,000, whatever your budget can afford. Or maybe it's monthly. But the benefit to you is that over time, no matter what the price is doing, you're still accumulating, and really it's one of those things where whatever it's doing, you can be excited about it. If it's up, your total holdings are higher. If it's down, your next transaction's buying more. And it's kind of a neat little concept I learned many years ago, probably about 1983 to be exact, and have used quite extensively since then, not only in my own accounts, but in clients' accounts. And it's always been, able to work just kind of the way we want it to. For those of you that have 401ks and 403bs and 457s, all these ERISA-type retirement plans through your employer, it is that's what you're doing, is every payroll, boom, you're putting another $65 in, or whatever it is that you're able to put in. And it's going to be different every paycheck, so you can benefit from that. Anyway, I've probably spent a lot of time on that. I did want to take in, holy cow, I didn't realize what time it was. I got to talking and just kind of got crazy there. Let me do this. I want to go to one article, and now knowing the time, I'm not going to be able to read the whole article, but I do want to read just a portion of it, because if you've tuned in before, I love Egon von Greiser. And Egon is from Switzerland. He manages money for the Matterhorn Investment Group. And, he's got a new article out just this morning. I'm not going to do that. I want to read this one, just a little bit of it. Paper silver is toxic and physical silver the investment of the decade. So in other words, he's making that distinction that I was just making with my Titanic story of paper versus physical. And let's just see. Okay, we'll just read a little bit here. It says, all things are poison and nothing is without poison. Only the dose makes a thing not poison. These words were expressed by the famous Swiss physician and scientist Paracelsus in the 16th century. That's why I like this guy. He always kind of weaves history in, and so I get some nice lessons and stuff. This week I will discuss two poisonous areas, a toxic derivatives market in silver and a ubiquitous fake silver coins and bars. But first, a few words about the dollar. Central bankers, master forgers. The most blatant toxic forgery is carried out by central bankers around the world. These banks manufacture tens of trillions of fiat paper or electronic entries and then tell the people that it is real money. If ordinary people would print money, the forgers would go to jail and the money destroyed, as it is fake and worthless. But when central banks print money, no one goes to jail. Instead, they tell us that this money has the same value as the money already in circulation. They might actually be right. Take the dollar. In real terms, it has lost 98% since 1971. So all the dollars circulating are virtually worthless, thus not much different to freshly printed dollars, which are also worthless. And you can kind of see the gist of this article. If you want to read it in its entirety, I posted it this morning on my Gold Affiliate Facebook page, which is at thegoldaffiliate.com, I believe it is. And so you can read the entire article there. And it's it gets into some history and then, what we're going through with Janet Yellen in charge of the Treasury and Jay Powell in charge of the Federal Reserve and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very, very interesting read. And as usual with Mr. Egon, he's got it trump full of facts and history that he can kind of back up his point. The thing in there that's kind of interesting, and I got to tell you, I've been following this gentleman now for a while, and he has an uncanny ability to be right. Maybe not exactly in the month or the exact year of, kind of a idea of what's going to happen, but pretty darn close. And, he's looking at the markets and thinking that, somewhere in 2021 it may be unpleasant to be in stocks. So I'll just leave it at that. As far as read that, go and find it. If you don't, let me know and I'll read the whole thing next week. I did want to point out, since a couple of the last shows, we've been talking about another form of insurance, not wealth insurance, but insurance for you so that you can take care of your final expenses. And there's a lot of us out there that now can. In fact, what I want to show you here just briefly is my policy I got in the mail the other day. And but if you can't, if you're sitting there and you're just thinking about, hey, if something happened to me, if I died today, how would they take care of me getting, either cremated or buried or, whatever. And so that's where these policies come in handy. And the little company I kind of have been working with lately is called Senior Life. They're out of Thomasville, Georgia. And so I got my little thank you letter, for having a policy with them. Congratulations, your decision to protect your loved ones with your new Senior Life policy is a decision that will last a lifetime. Enjoy the peace of mind that comes with knowing you have protected your family for years to come. Your choice to purchase this policy joins you with tens of thousands of others who have put their trust in Senior Life Insurance Company. But essentially, it's very straightforward. There's the policy. There's my policy number, date, initial premium. It's got all the information in here that I will ever need. And obviously, I'm going to put this in my safety deposit box, or actually my safe. And, my wife knows about this. So if something should happen to yours truly, she'll at least be able to take care of that initial cost, for the funeral and all. And then, knowing me, you probably realize I have other policies that'll take care of other things. But the thing with life insurance that's not structured like this is sometimes it may take weeks before you get the proceeds, and usually the funeral home wants to get paid sooner as compared to later. So, and part of this is I got a free prescription discount card. There's a lot of little features in this that are just amazing. I went ahead and paid the extra $4 a week for the Legacy Assurance, which means that I've got their wish team working for me to get the best price on, caskets, urns, things like that. And they do a wonderful job. I've got one acquaintance up in Hannibal, Missouri. His mother-in-law passed away here a couple of months ago, and the funeral home in his town was wanting to charge him $6,000 for a casket. And he got the wish team involved and realized that she had one of these policies and stuff. And the wish team was able to get that down to $1,500. So they saved $4,500 in that particular situation and so forth. But anyway, I see Jason. He's kind of giving me that look like, you know what time it is, Tony. Are you going to keep talking, or am I going to have to jump up and down here and wave my arms? So thanks for tuning in to our new day, our new time. We'll be back next week on Thursday. I guess that would be the 11th. Days the 4th, 7th, 11th of February at 10 a.m. So wear your masks, use good judgment, be safe, be well, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in.